Welcome to Fantasia, home of the melodious. My name's Azallea, and today, gonna be bringing you guys a brand new deck profile. This is going to be a SPYRAL Lyrilusc deck. Lyrilusc, if you don't know, is, you know, the Lyrilusc. They're little tiny birds that are level 1. I prefer to call them Lyrilusc. Lyrilusc kind of like just reminds me of like Looney Tunes, I don't know. Anyway, let's just jump right into this, right? So we have Lyrilusc Turquoise Warbler. We play 3 copies of her. Actually, now that you think about it, she kind of looks like Tweety Bird, right? Anyway, if you don't know what this card does, it says if you control no monsters, you can special summon this card from your hand. If this card is special summoned from the hand, you can special summon 1 Lyrilusc monster from your hand or graveyard, and you can only use this effect once per turn, unfortunately. But she is really good, and she is basically combo enabler. You want to be able to open up with her and use her effect. Oh look, the light came out. And the birds are chirping outside. That's kind of cool. Anyway, moving on, we are playing three copies of Lyrilusc Sapphire Swallow. Now, Sapphire Swallow, it says that if you control a Wind Beast type monster, you can special summon both this card and 1 level 1 Wind Beast type monster from your hand. You can only use this effect once per turn, and a Wind XYZ monster that was special summoned using this card on the field as an XYZ material gains the effect that if this card is XYZ summoned, you can target 1 Lyrilusc monster in your graveyard and attach it to this card as an XYZ material. So this card is really good for making your XYZs, your assembled Nightingale, have a ton of materials. And as we all know, if an assembled Nightingale has a ton of materials, you can just swing to the opponent's face multiple times for a ton of damage. So that is why we play 3 copies of her. The only downside with this card is that you have to have a Winged Beast monster on the field in order to special summon her. So Turquoise Warbler helps with that. But because we don't have Recite Starling yet in the TCG, that's the reason why I'm switching over to a SPYRAL build for the TCG as of right now, because it helps you get your XYZs started and flowing, and it allows you to have alternative options to go for if you can't summon your assembled Nightingale with a ton of materials. So next off, we're actually playing 3 copies of Lyrilusc Cobalt SPYRAL, my favorite Lyrilusc. Look how adorable she is. Okay, anyway, if this card is special summoned, you can add 1 level 1 Winged Beast monster from your deck to your hand. This can also search hand traps like DD Crow, which is kind of nice. You can only use this effect of Lyrilusc Cobalt SPYRAL once per turn, and a Wind XYZ monster that was summoned using this card on the field as XYZ material. Your opponent cannot target this card with card effects. So if you summon and assemble Nightingale with this card, which you should, your opponent can't target it, which is nice because Assemble Nightingale has the effect where it protects her from both battle and card effects. So with the addition of targeting immunity, you're basically establishing a very strong boss monster that can attack multiple times directly to your opponent that cannot be targeted, destroyed by card effects, or by battle. So it's a nuisance for your opponent to try to get rid of. Okay, so next off, we are actually playing 3 copies of Turbo Booster. Now, Turbo Booster, you might be wondering, what the heck is this? Well, if you don't know, if you have normal summoned a monster this turn, you can special summon this card from your hand. You can also tribute this card to destroy 1 monster your opponent controls that battled 1 of your monsters this turn. So, it actually has some utility, as well as just being a level 1 that can special summon itself. Normally, you're going to normal summon something at some point in this deck, despite all of these liking to be special summoned. The Spirals do like to be normal summoned. So you do have that. And Turbo Booster, if you attack into an opponent's monster, you can actually tribute this and just destroy that monster. So it's really nice spot removal as well, especially because, like I mentioned, Assembled Nightingale cannot be destroyed in battle if you use her effect. So you can just ram into something that your opponent had that's a problem for you. Like, let's say they have an Aturia Beast or something. You could always use Turbo Warrior or Turbo Booster, tribute this card after the battle phase, and then destroy that card. So it's really nice. It's just a little utility, and also it's just really good as a free special summon. It's also really nice substitute for like Jester Comfit, because I know Jester Comfit's like what, $3 or $4 right now. It's kind of pricey for what it is because it doesn't really do much, let's be honest. But yeah, Turbo Booster is a really nice card. I've really enjoyed it. So there's that. Next off, we play 1 copy of Glow Up Bulb. Glow Up Bulb is, of course, you know, a level 1 tuner, very powerful card, and Definitely infamous for being used as a part of the plant engine. But we use him here because Glowbulb is a level 1 Earth Tuner. Not only can you just XYZ with this card, but it can also revive itself from the graveyard, which is really nice. So that's why it's a nice addition to the deck. The reason why I also play it is because it's a level 1 Earth Tuner. Since we're playing a Spiral build of this deck, we play 3 copies of SPYRAL Super Agent, which is a Earth monster, level 4 Earth monster, which means you can make Naturia Beast in this deck, and that's so powerful for just locking your opponent out. So yeah, anyway, SPYRAL Super Agent, if you don't know, if this card is in your hand, you can declare one type of card, a monster, spell, or trap, reveal the top card of your opponent's deck, and if you do, special summon this card, if the card of that type is, you know, the one that you declared. And if this card is special summoned by the effect of a SPYRAL card, including his own effect, you can target one spell or trap card your opponent controls and destroy it. And you can only use each effect of SPYRAL Super Agent once per turn. But he is really good spell and trap removal. He has a nice level 4 body. He has a nice 1900 attack, good attributes, and he's a warrior, so he's searchable by reinforcements of the army if you play that card. He's just super versatile overall. Spirals are such a good engine, and I'd highly recommend you try it out in Lyrilusc because of the fact that we play these level 1s. 3 copies of SPYRAL Quick Fix. Really, really good card, and it's a searcher. So if this card isn't normal or special summon, you can add one SPYRAL Gear card from your deck to your hand. That's not once per turn, keep that in mind. If this card is in your graveyard and you control a SPYRAL Super Agent, you can actually discard one card, special summon this card, but banish it when it leaves the field. But the interesting thing is that if you overlay with this, it will not get banished if it leaves the field. So yeah, basically infinite XYZ fodder in terms of just be able to bring itself back over and over and over and keep letting you spam rank 1s on the field. Okay, last but not least, we cap off the monsters with 3 copies of SPYRAL Gear Drone. Now this is a SPYRAL Gear card, so it is searchable by our Quick Fix, which is really nice. So this card, if this card is normal or special summon, you can look at the top 3 cards of your opponent's deck, and if you do, place them at the top of their deck in any order that you want. So this card just lets you screw your opponent over so bad, and it's really funny when you just look at the top cards of their deck, you're like, you know what, I'm gonna go special summon a ton on my turn, and I'm gonna let you top deck a Max C, right? So there's a lot of utility with this card, and I love it, especially in combination with SPYRAL Super Agent, so it's really good. Also, during either player's turn, you contribute this card, then target one SPYRAL monster that you control. It gains 500 attack for each card your opponent controls. And you can banish this card and one SPYRAL card from your graveyard, then target one SPYRAL Super Agent in your graveyard and add it to your hand. So, really great recovery, really great versatility, and these cards are all absolutely amazing. It's also important to keep in mind that Quick Fix and Drone are both machines. Okay, so that does it for the monsters. Next off, we're going to go into the spell cards. So for the spell cards, starting off with the themed stuff, we play 3 copies of SPYRAL Resort, the awesome field spell for this deck, and just really good overall. It says if your opponent cannot target any other SPYRAL cards that you control with card effects. Kind of very similar to like a Sky Iris. Once per turn, you can add one SPYRAL monster from your deck to your hand, and once per turn during your end phase, you have to shuffle one monster from your graveyard into the deck, or you will have to destroy this card. But that's no problem, because we're usually filling up our graveyard with a bunch of level 1 monsters, like Lyrilusc stuff that we can just keep shuffling back that we can, you know, search out or draw into in our subsequent turns. And of course, because the field spell is so good, we have to play 3 copies of Terraforming. Keep in mind, the SPYRAL Resort is not once per turn, so you can continuously search if you have multiple field spells. And just to help you search out the Resort, it's really nice. Never dead. Next off, we were actually playing 3 copies of SPYRAL Gear Big Red. Now, Big Red, searchable by Quick Fix, again. You can activate this card by targeting one SPYRAL monster in your graveyard, special summon it, and if you do, equip this card to it. It cannot be destroyed by battle, and of course you can only activate one of these per turn because a monster reborn like this would be broken if his wasn't once per turn, right? Right, Lunalights? So yeah, this card is really good for just bringing out a SPYRAL Super Agent or something, and if you summon Super Agent with this, you can pop your opponent's back row too. It's just really good overall, and your opponent's and your monster cannot be destroyed by battle, and people tend to forget about that effect. The last SPYRAL card that we play is actually going to be this new card that came out, SPYRAL Gear Fully Armed, right? So this card says that you can equip only to a SPYRAL Super Agent, and it gains 1000 attack. If it destroys your opponent's monster by battle, you can banish the opponent's destroyed monster and one other card that your opponent controls. So this card is just like a 2-in-1, like very similar to a Zodiac Whiptail. And if this card is destroyed and sent to the graveyard, you can target one SPYRAL Super Agent in your graveyard and special summon it. So it's really good in that regard as well. And yeah. So moving on, we are actually playing 3 copies of Machine Duplication. This is absolutely amazing if you use this in conjunction with Quick Fix or Drone, and you really want to see this in your opening hand for a really explosive start. So you can target one machine-type monster you control with 500 or less attack, and special summon up to 2 monsters from your deck with the same name as that monster. So it's absolutely amazing, so good, because you get Quick Fixes out from your deck, you get 3 searches, because Quick Fix is not once per turn. You can search for your Big Red, you can search for Fully Armed, you can even search for Drone if you really want to. So it's just so versatile, and it immediately opens up rank 1 plays for you to start off your combos. Next off, we actually play 3 copies of Instant Fusion because we have multiple targets for Instant Fusion, not just Norden in this deck, which I'll get into when we get to the extra deck. So 3 copies of that, absolutely necessary actually, it's mandatory because of what we run. Next off, we play 1 copy of Foolish Burial just to get our Glow Bulb into the graveyard. You can also, sometimes if you don't have anything in your graveyard, you can send something and just shuffle it back with your SPYRAL Resort so your SPYRAL Resort doesn't get destroyed. But that rarely ever comes up. This is mostly for the Glow Bulb, and in some rare cases you want to send a SPYRAL like Drone or a Quick Fix or something so you can use your Big Red and revive it back, right? Next off, we play 1 copy of 1 for 1 to cap off the spells. Really great for getting your Glow Bulb out onto the field from your deck, just because Glow Bulb is great for making Naturia Beast, and also great for just summoning a Lyrical Lucinia, especially Cobalt Sparrow, because Cobalt Sparrow allows you to get some searches. So anyway, that does it for the spell cards. It actually does it for the main deck. 40 cards. Next off, we're going to go into the side deck. Okay, so for the side deck, starting off, we play 2 copies of DD Crow. Now, DD Crow is actually searchable in this deck because Cobalt Sparrow can grab it if she is special summoned, so that's always nice. You can always save it for your opponent's turn that way. Really good hand trap still overall. And next off, we actually play, speaking of hand traps, the best one in the game, Maxi. I side deck this and I don't main deck it because the deck's not like supposed to be super competitive or anything, it's just for fun. Maxi is also just good against decks that like to special summon a lot, and with True Dracos coming out, you know, maybe if the people are playing pure like Demise True Dracos or something like that, Maxi might not be the most effective against them, so it's okay to have it sided. It's not mandatory to have it mained this format, so yeah, but we'll see going forward how things turn out in terms of meta. Okay, so next off we play 3 copies of Twin Twisters for additional back row removal, because SPYRAL Super Agent is like a built-in MST, but we don't actually main deck any spell and trap removal in the form of spells ourselves in the main deck, so 3 Twin Twisters is pretty nice. You could discard things like extra Quick Fixes or Drones, you could discard Glow Bulb, anything that you don't need at the moment, so you can revive it later. Last 3 spell cards that we run on the side, we play 3 copies of Stoic Challenge. Really great for just, if you win game 1, this is just, you put it as in game 2, your opponent will most likely want to go first, and then you can just Stoic Challenge onto your Assemble Nightingale and just OTK right then and there, and just steal the match. It is so good. I highly recommend playing 3, just so you have a higher chance of drawing into it. Next off, we play 3 copies of Quaking Mirror Force because it's a nice way to piss people off when they attack into your monsters. You flip them all face down, especially because we have a lot of level 1s and rank 1s, which are really not that powerful. So they'll be very tempted to attack into you, flip everything face down, just poke them to death with Assemble Nightingale. It's so funny to see. And it puts people on tilt, which is kind of nice. Next off, to cap off the side deck, we play 3 copies of Harpy's Featherstorm, one of the best cards in this side deck, and for this archetype actually too. So if you control a Wind Beast monster, until the end of this turn, negate any monster effects that your opponent activates. So this is like skill drain, but everywhere, and your opponent can't do anything. If you control a Harpy monster, of course, this is not a Harpy deck, but there's some things additional effects that can happen. But anyway, the most important thing is that you just flip this if you have a Wind Beast monster on the field, and just negates everything. Absolutely everything, and your opponent's just stuck without monster effects for the rest of the turn. So that does it for the side deck. Next off, going to go into the extra deck. So for the extra deck, starting off, of course, with the Lyrilusc Assembled Nightingale. 3 copies, because you need it. It says 2 or more level 1 monsters, and this card gains 200 attack for every XYZ material attached to it. This card can attack directly, and when this card has XYZ material, it can attack a number of times each battle phase up to the number of XYZ materials attached to it. So if you have 5 materials, she has 1,000 attack, and it can attack 5 times. 5,000 damage straight to the face. And once per turn during either player's turn, you can detach 1 XYZ material from this card. Until the end of this turn, Lyrilusc monsters you control cannot be destroyed by battle or by card effects, and also you take no battle damage. So she becomes just such an annoying threat on the field, and your opponent will get sick of her real quick and try to get rid of her as soon as possible. But of course we play 3 for that very reason, so you can just keep spamming them on the field and your opponent can't deal with them, right? Okay, so next off, because we don't have Recite Starling, we have to play this card, number 54, Lionheart. Lionheart is a really good XYZ monster, actually, but it requires 3 level 1 monsters, which kind of sucks. And it reads that if this face-up attack... Okay, so this face-up attack position card cannot be destroyed by battle, and when you take battle damage from battles involving this card, inflict damage to your opponent equal to the amount of battle damage that you took. So, very similar to Recite Starling, you both take the damage. But if this card battles an opposed monster, during damage calculation, you can detach 1 XYZ material from this card, and your opponent takes any battle damage you would have taken from that battle. So this card is so good for just ramming into your opponent's high-level monsters and just absolutely destroying them, which is really good. Just inflict so much damage to your opponent, and then you can finish them off with your Assembled Nightingale attacking directly. Okay, so next off, for more rank 1s, we play 1 copy of Ghostrick Dullahan, which is really nice for just having your opponent's attack by detaching a material. That's pretty good. It's 1200 attack on the field because it gives a 200 boost for every Ghostrick on the field, including himself, so that's really nice. Little beat stick right there. Speaking of beat sticks, one of the new cards that came out, absolutely beautiful card, Sylvan Princess Sprite. Sylvan Princess Sprite, if you don't know what it does, requires 2 level 1 monsters, and you can detach 1 XYZ material from this card to excavate the top card of your deck. And if it's a spell or trap card, add it to your hand, otherwise send it to the graveyard. So this card is really nice. So you can, if you excavate a monster, sends it to the grave. So if you're sending spirals and stuff, you can revive it with Big Red. If you're sending Global, of course, you can just bring it back, go for Synchro plays or for rank 1 XYZs. And you want to draw into spells and traps with this card. It's just so good. It's just a free draw, and you get to add something to your hand. Very similar to like a Fairy Cheer Girl, but really good for this deck. You could play 2 copies. I don't really see it coming up too often, but definitely a possibility. And of course, to cap off the quote-unquote rank 1s, we play 1 copy of number F0 Utopic Future. So if you have 2 XYZ monsters with the same rank, except number monsters, you can use both of those as material for this. So this card cannot be destroyed by battle, and neither player takes any battle damage from attacks involving this card. At the end of the damage step, if this card battled an opponent's monster, you can take control of that opponent's monster until the end of the battle phase. So it's really nice to just attack into something, steal it, and use that opponent's monster you just stole to attack them with it. And also, if this card would be destroyed by a card effect, you could detach 1 XYZ material from this card instead. So, very difficult to get rid of unless your opponent starts targeting this with like a Castell or something. But yeah. So moving on, away from the rank 1s, we have some rank 4s because we do play Super Agent. We play 1 copy of Abyss Dweller, which is nice for shutting down graveyard effects, especially with True Dracos coming out. Their spells and traps like to trigger in the graveyard. We don't want any of that. Same with True King Dinosaurs. Next off, we play 1 copy of Castell, because very standard removal for anything that can make rank 4s. And then we play our Utopia package, because we like to inflict damage. So you have your Utopia, and then your number S39, Utopia the Lightning. Just attack over your opponent's monsters, and as much damage as we can do. If you slam something with Utopia Lightning, usually Assembled Nightingale can finish the job off, right? So that's it for the XYZ monsters. Next off, we're going to go into the, well, I guess we'll combine Synchros and Fusions, because we only play 1 Synchro, right? In the form of Naturia Beast. Naturia Beast, such a good card. Every time your opponent activates a spell card, you just negate it by sending the top 2 cards of your deck to the graveyard. Really great for fueling the graveyard with monsters. You know, hopefully mill like some spiral stuff so you can bring it back with your big gear red card thing. I forgot the name of it. It just slipped my mind. Okay, anyway, into the fusions. I'm getting tired. We have one copy of Elder Entity Norden. Because we do play an instant fusion, this can bring back Spiral Super Agent. You can also bring back some level 1s and just XYZ with other level 1s on the field into rank 1s, if you choose to do that. You also have a Thousand Eyes Restrict right here, and if you don't know what this does, other monsters on the field cannot change their battle positions or attack, and it's such a good effect. Once per turn, you can target one monster your opponent controls, equip that target to this card, and you know, this card gains the attack and defense of the equal to the equipped monster's original attack and defense, and if this card be destroyed by battle, you can destroy the equipped monster instead. So here's the cool thing about this though, you can steal your opponent's monster and then just overlay with this card so that your opponent's monster is basically destroyed. So it's really good free removal, and it's just super good in this deck because you could just, you know, make a Princess Sylvan Sprite or something like that, and then boom, your opponent's monster is gone, you clear the threat, and you get extra draws. So really good synergy with the deck. And of course, last but not least, we're going to cap things off with a Lyrilusc Independent Nightingale, the card that got Tyrant Neptune banned. Now, this card, you can instant fusion this out, and it puts a Wind Beast body on the field, which is really good for your Sapphire Swallow. So, you're almost never going to be fused. You can't fuse with this in this deck. At least my build, you can't make her naturally. So, this card says, if this card is fusion summoned using an XYZ material on the field as fusion material, whose original name includes a Lyrilusc, you can increase this card's level by the number of XYZ materials attached to that monster, and this card gains attack equal to its level times 500. So, of course, if we instant fusion this out, it only has one level, so it gains 500, it'll be 1500 attack. And this card is also unaffected by all other card effects, which is pretty stupid, but, you know, it is what it is. And once per turn, you can inflict damage to your opponent equal to this card's level times 500. So if you summon this card, you just burn your opponent for 500 damage real quick. Helps you get the job done much easier with your Independent Nightingale, especially if this card comes out over and over again. Just chip away your opponent. It's just, this deck is just made to annoy your opponent to death, right? So that does it for the extra deck, and that actually does it for the deck profile. So thank you all so much for watching this video. I really do appreciate it. If you enjoyed it or found it helpful, please leave a like, subscribe for more Lyrilusc content, and leave a comment down below letting me know what I can do to improve. And until next time, take care.